Mr. Chairman, I'd like to go back to the questions that I asked to the Minister, because while I appreciate that he attempted to address some of them, I think his answers have left more questions than I began with. And the Minister said this legislation, that the IT is sort of off to one side about this legislation, but that's not strictly true. This legislation implements the trade single window. The success of the trade single window depends on the IT system that operates it. So if the IT system isn't working, then we are legislating to implement something that is not going to succeed for New Zealand and may cost us. There are a lot of things that I think out of what the Minister said that we need to ask more questions about. Minister, you talked about contractual obligations, and the implication of your comment about contractual obligations was that the party that we were contracting to has not met them. In fact, you said that people can be held to account. I want to know the extent to which that party, I presume the Minister is talking about IBM, has not met the contractual obligations on it. The Minister said, yes, it has cost. There's been a little bit of creep in the budget. Now, that's not an accounting term that I'm aware of, a little bit of creep. Would the Minister quantify for us what the cost of this system has gone up by, and whether there are expected further increases in costs that were not anticipated at the beginning? Minister, you also said there are elements that didn't quite work to start with. Now, I'd really like to know what those elements were. Are we talking about elements that are fundamental to the system? Look, I know the advantage we have in this instance is that the CUSMOD system was designed to keep going for 6 months. I think it was 6 months that it was designed to keep going as a parallel system in case it broke down, and to that extent we're different from NovaPay. But it must be close to 6 months, if not over 6 months, since we implemented Tranche 1, and therefore we should be talking about phasing out CUSMOD. And can the Minister tell us whether we're actually phasing it out, or whether the problems are such that we're going to have to keep on implementing that dual system? The Minister, you also mentioned that there were 2 variations in the contract that were causing problems. Can you be more specific? What are those variations to the contract? Why are they needed? What is it costing the New Zealand taxpayer to have those variations? And in what respects is the system not delivering? Because, excuse my cynicism, I started early on asking questions about INSIS. No, not the thing that the Act Party is crusading on. INSIS, this is the police system. It's got nothing to do with the family. I started off asking questions about INSIS, and the Minister of Police at the time gave me the very answers that I'm hearing now. No, it's a small problem, minor. We're going to just spend a bit more money, do a bit more. We're going to require IBM to do this. And the problem didn't get resolved. It got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I want to know, more specifically, what the dimensions of this problem are. I'm glad we've had an acknowledgement from you, Minister, that there is a problem with the IT system. I have seen no press statements from the government that there's a problem with the system. So I want to know, if there are problems with the system, why hasn't the government been more upfront about it? Because, we are talking about taxpayer money, but for the fact that people in Customs have talked to various people in the opposition and said, oh, this is bad, this is not working the way it should, we wouldn't have had that information. That's not the way to explain that there's a problem. If there's a problem, be upfront, honest and transparent about it. But tell us what the dimensions of that problem are. Tell us what the causes of that problem are. Tell us to the extent to which you have been able to remedy that problem and the extent to which that problem is ongoing. They are all critical elements to our support for the introduction of this system that's meant to do a better job than before. And if the IT system fails, we'll be back to where we were, and we will have expended a lot of money. So let's be a little bit more specific than a little bit of creep in the budget. What has been the creep in the budget? What is the anticipated additional costs? Will IBM meet the contractual obligations on it? What is the government intending to do, Mr Chairman, if we don't do that?
Mr Chairman.
Morris Williamson.
Mr Chairman, I want to try and get this resolved because this is